How are we all doing, guys? My goodness me, it's been a while, hasn't it, since we did one of these. We've got some games to talk about, some awful games to talk about. Let's be honest, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows this podcast. But I'll tell you what, we are going to try our best to be a little bit optimistic and to be at least a little bit, happy by some degree. I don't know where we're going to find it. Don't get me wrong. Don't know where it's being found from. But I tell you what, we're going to give it our best shot because there's too much negativity going on at the moment around Wolves, and there's obviously some positives, and we need to sort of find those positives, don't we, guys? So welcome to the Wolfpack Podcast Live, episode 9, with your boy Dan. And we're going to get in the panel in a minute. Before we do, though, like the video, subscribe to the channel, go over to our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, also known as X. Give us a follow, share it with your friends. Do everything you can absolutely possibly do to support us, and that would be greatly appreciated. We are also on YouTube now. You can sign up for membership. You get free stuff. We've got some stickers to give away. And some other things as well. Obviously, you become a member, you get different membership privileges as well. So that's really, really cool if you want to do that. If you want to support us as well, we can do super chats now. So anything that you can support us any way whatsoever, do so. Really helps. You know all that. You know all that anyway. Anyway, so to bring our panel in, the first person we're bringing in is Benjamin. How you doing, mate?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm doing my absolute best to smile, and just keep on keeping on. But we'll see what happens the rest of the season. But yeah, next person we're bringing in is Adansi. You know what? I'm glad you're here, bud. I'm really glad you're here, man. Because
I needed to be here today, I think.
This to me is like some therapy needed bullshit right now. We needed this. And everyone in the chat right now. Everyone in the chat now. IH, how you doing? Sutty, how we doing, man? And Neil. Everyone here right now, 100 of you just getting in. Get involved in the comments and tell us what you think. And let's use this as therapy. If anything, that's what we have now. We've got each other, and we've got to really knuckle down and get through this bit of a tough start, to say the least. Anyway, next on the panel, and last but not least, is Johnny Boy. How you doing, John?
How's it going, guys? Looking forward to this one. A lot to discuss.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, football is about just as much of going through it as much as, having all the positives. If you want constant positives, then support your Man Cities, support your Chelseas sometimes. Just support these huge clubs that buy all the players and have all the riches and have all the glory. But at the end of the day, for me, that's not football. Football is just as much about this as it is all the positives and all the glamour in life as well. And it should be about that, really.
There, mate.
It's true, though, isn't it? It is true. Yeah. Like,
what did he actually say? I can't remember when he gave his little article thing.
Jack,
like, it was like, if you want to win, don't support Wolves. It was something like really.
Yeah. If you want to win trophies,
that's what he said.
That was great. That was.
Yeah. He basically just said that if you want, all of these amazing things, support another team, which is ridiculous to come.
Something was probably lost in translation, maybe. I think and the PR people didn't get their hands on it before it went out, and this stuff makes the good stuff better. So drink it in. That's what you got to do.
Ian says, evening all, please can I have and ask for a shout out to an amazing gentleman, a true wolf and fantastic guy who fortunately passed away earlier this week. R.I.P. Steve Plant. Yes. R.I.P. to Planty. Awful. But all our hearts and prayers are with the family and everything. It's an awful thing to happen. Hopefully, Wolves do something about it. Give us a minute silence or whatever for him in the next game. That'd be really nice. From what I've heard, I'm pretty sure that's something that might happen anyway. So there you go. There's your shout out. What a legend. How are we doing, North? You good? Groundhog Day. That's what it feels like, doesn't it, at the moment? Every Wolves performance at the moment is very, very reminiscent to one another. And I'll tell you what, that's a great segue into the first game. So the first game, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to talk about today is the game that me and Kyle actually went to together and filmed a lovely vlog, which was really fun, actually. And it's out there now on YouTube. Go and check it out. It was really, really fun. And regardless of the result and everything, it's a lot of fun to do. But let's talk about the game in general. I'll start with Ben. Ben, what were your thoughts sort of at full time, I suppose, and then talk to me about your thoughts towards the game. So full time result 2-1. What's your first thoughts?
I was devastated, man, because I was at my nan's house. We were all watching it as a family, just sort of as a nice family occasion, and just we were all very deflated at the end. Like it was just, I had a lot of hope going into the game, sort of off the back of seeing that Andre was starting, sort of his little cameo at the Forest game, everything we know about him as a player. I was really excited to see him play. And obviously he played very well throughout the game, got a booking, came off, and then it all just fell apart. Deflated.
Yeah. So in terms of the game, let's look at the stats, and then I'll come to you, John. What happened in that second half, mate? Because let's look at the first half. This is the first half.
Yep.
Right. If you look at this on paper, they dominated us with possession, but we did a lot about it. 5 shots in that game, 2 on target, even got a big chance as well. And some positive attacking stats. But then you go to the second half, and that basically diminishes, and it goes so far into Newcastle's favour that it's uncanny. And it goes even worse for the Villa game, but I'm just telling you now, a bit of a spoiler, it gets even worse for the Villa game. But what are your thoughts, and what sort of happened in that second half, John, for you? Yeah. What happened in that second half for us to just have lost that game?
I think it's a mixture of game management from the manager, and I think it's also potentially maybe a fitness issue, because we're seeing this point in the game now around the second half. I don't know what he says in the changing room to him at second half, but it doesn't go down well. And it always seems like maybe the 60th, 70th minute, they start really running out of ideas. They don't look as energetic. They look knackered. They're trying to make changes. The changes aren't working. I don't think Gary's making the right changes at the right time. And I just feel like as soon as a goal goes in, doesn't matter who we're playing. We saw it against Newcastle. We're talking about now. We saw it against Villa. The players, the heads drop, and we're not used to that, because when we had Nuno as a manager, there was always that in the back of your mind that it doesn't matter if we go a goal down now, because Nuno's men can get over that. They've got those kind of characters in the squad that can get over that, and we haven't got that now. It's like everyone's head drops. They think, right, we're a goal down. There's no way we can bring that back, and that's what we saw in the Newcastle game. It was really disappointing, and you just knew when that first goal went in, the second one was gonna happen. And you do feel like it's the same again. Poor mistakes in defence, poor mistakes just outside the box. The midfielders that should be helping out. Can't really knock the attack that much. I don't think it's been too bad. Some aspects of the midfield has been good as well, but it's just the defence and the game management for me is just what is causing us to lose games at the moment. And there's no belief. The players haven't got that confidence anymore. They haven't. I just, and that second half talk is just terrible. Whatever he says in the changing rooms at second half is terrible.
Yeah. Dan C, I'm going to come to you. What do you think about that Lamina goal, mate?
It's cracking, mate. Beautiful.
Talk me through it. Talk me through it.
I can't. I can't remember. It was so long ago. I just know it was good.
Strand Larson picks up the ball, doesn't he? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. I remember it now. Yeah, so Strand Larson, great strength, great running. Kyle said he's a flop. I don't agree he's a flop. He's a great running, great strength.
Hard worker, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He's doing all the right things. He needs a goal, but he's showing me enough that he's a cracking player. The ball across, Joe Gomez, literally the best thing he's done, I think. He was the only person that saw Lamina running that way. No one else saw him. I was at the game and I didn't see him.
No.
I was watching Gomez.
It ended up in the net, and I was looking. Who just tapped? Was that no goal?
I was about to get out of my seat and give Gomez a what for missing the goal, and then it's absolutely beautiful. Great vision, and then how can people who created that just create what happened in the second half? You know what I mean?
So we'll go to that second half performance. So you know what? After we scored that goal, 36 minutes. We're very much on top. We actually go into half time 1-0 up against Newcastle. And I genuinely thought, we look really, really good. We look really fit. Things were working out really well. As soon as we started to press them and those presses were working, we pretty much nullified them to nothing, really, in that first half. And I thought, right, here we go. And then obviously the second half kicks off. I still think it's a bit of an even contest. I don't think it's as quite as Jekyll and Hyde as we've seen from the Villa game we'll talk about later. But I still think that we took the foot clean off the gas, just being 1 goal up. We need to start thinking, right, we're winning this game. The game plan's working. Let's just go out there, do the same. Newcastle are clearly going to become better. Whatever team you play in the second half, they're going to come at you again harder because they want the points just as much as you do. And it just felt for me that it was inevitable. The more the game went on, the more pressure that we put ourselves under, it was just a matter of time. Now, the subs that were made definitely are things to talk about, very, very factual things that happened during this game is the substitutions. I thought Andre was tired a lot longer than before he got took off. I think that Doyle substitution should have happened a lot sooner for me. And that was one of the problems because Andre got leggy and he was the one guy that was mopping up all those mistakes that was happening in front of the goalkeeper. Soon as he went, he made no mistakes really. He needed to come off the pitch. It's just one of those things. Soon as that happened and they got that little bit more space, what do? We don't close down the shot, and it's a fantastic goal, albeit lucky deflection. But you thought we'd get wise to it. You thought after that goal went in, all right, 1-1, let's just at least not lose this game. We need something for some momentum. We can't keep losing football matches that we're winning. And then Barnes gets substituted on. And everyone in the Molineux was screaming, please don't let this guy cut inside. Don't let him cut inside. Take him out at the source, regardless of a yellow. Take him out at source. And no one does. And that's the problem we had in this game. We just did not close down Newcastle enough and let him just pepper the goal. And it just felt like at any point, if you shoot at the goal against Wolves, 9 times out of 10, it's going in. And And that was what this game became. It was just an absolute shambles. Ben, is there anything in that second half, Ben, that you can talk about from a positive light?
I don't think so. I mean, I probably agree with your assessment that up until, I don't know, 65th minute, I thought we were relatively solid. But just every substitution he made, I have some form of criticism for. So obviously, 70th minute, Kwang comes on. I mean, what on earth is he doing bringing Kwang on in this game? We're
No.
1-0 up, obviously, but like it was a lot more tight at that point. And Kwang has been extremely poor all season for reasons we'll probably get into later on, or in a potential possible video at another point. But he's just been so poor this season. And, you know, when things are tight like that, you want someone who's going to come on, stretch the play. You want an out-and-out winger. You want, you know, a Rodrigo Gomez. You want a Forbes. You want a Guedes. But he brings Kwang on, who, you know, his out-of-possession stuff is okay, but his in-possession stuff is just very shoddy at best.
Yeah.
So that was just the wrong substitution to make at that point. Doherty on for Semedo was just too late, I thought. I mean, it was taken out of his hands a bit because obviously he was booked, and I think he possibly was injured, was he?
He had a bit of a knock, didn't he?
Yeah, so that was sort of taken out of his hands. Doyle, like you said, I totally agree, was completely late. Awful timing. And then you look at Guedes and Forbes coming on in the 86th minute. I mean, when you're 2-0 down, and then when you're 2-1 down, I'm going to bring some, you know, players on to stretch the play and go at the opponent. Like, that's, you know, you should be making those subs earlier. When you're in the lead, you're thinking, okay, the game's getting a bit tighter. Why don't we bring on Guedes to run in behind? Let's bring on Doyle to play some passes in behind.
Yeah.
Let's bring on Forbes to stretch the play. Like, that's a coherent game plan from someone who's not, you know, a trained manager. I don't know what I'm doing. Gary O'Neill's supposed to be a professional at these sorts of things, but he can't see, you know, his in-game management. Like, for all the criticisms and positives, etc., I think for me his biggest criticism is his in-game management, and those subs, especially in the Newcastle game, just prove that to me.
Yeah, and I think that I'll come to you, John, with this question. Do you think there was anything in that game where you were like, catastrophically, that was a bad decision from a Wolves perspective, other than the substitutions? Like, what other mistakes were we making for us to just lose the game in the manner that we did? Because for me, we're going to come on to the other games in a minute, and they are essentially parallel with one another. But can you sort of address any situation that happened in that second half that isn't related to substitutions?
I just think just man marking. I just thought people were marking the wrong kind of players. Like Barnes, for example, such a quick player. Semedo's normally like a brilliant player, but at the moment you can tell he's coming back from international break. He probably hasn't got the best fitness. Maybe someone from midfield pre-game should have been told, maybe can you help Semedo a little bit? He's just come back from international break, probably isn't fully fit. There are going to be players on that side that are going to be tricky. Someone from the midfield should have come and helped him. I just felt like too many players have been hiding on the pitch, especially in that game. Too many players, I thought, just didn't seem like they were giving their 100%, maybe 80, 90%, but not their 100%. I just felt like some players need to play for the badge a bit more. And I just think we're just so sloppy now with when we have got the ball in the box, getting it back out again and recycling the ball and then getting it back out to some of the other players and trying to push it up the field. It's almost like we sit back all the time now, and we know from the first half of every game, if we just decide to play like we do normally at the start of a game and play properly, we don't have to drop back all the time. We don't have to drop back all the time and just invite this pressure on. So for me, it's just, I know the manager's obviously telling them to do it and the players have to do that, but they don't always, I don't think, have to just be so safe at the back. Do you know what I mean? I think you have to try and get the ball up the pitch a bit more to someone that's actually going to make something happen instead of just playing tippy-tappy football in the back. And it's causing errors and it's causing the other teams to score. At the moment, we're just not being brave enough.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think the positive in that game, as we said before, was Andre. I was talking to some Newcastle fans after the game, and they said that he was an absolute nuisance, to be honest, for them. Just completely mopped up any situations that was happening defensively for us, and was running amok really of their midfield. But it's just one of them things that, like, I feel like now we've seen Doyle in that Brighton game. We've got two very good players in that position. And I just feel like we've said it a few times, but in this particular game, Doyle comes on a lot sooner. I don't think we lose that game. I don't. Because you saw what Doyle was like in Brighton. He's essentially doing what Andre was doing. And he was doing a good job of it. And I just feel like you make that sub sooner. You literally look out at the pitch. You go, right, Andre's leggy. Let's get him off. Let's get Doyle on. It's a like for like, essentially. And he just dropped the ball because by the time he realised or whatever, it was 1-1, and then it's too late. Then it was always going to happen. They were always going to score after that. And ended 2-1, and really disappointing, obviously, at Molineux as well. You know, when we're dominating the game for such a long period, was a very, very, very tough game to have lost. But we obviously didn't just lose that one, did we? So we're going to talk about the next one. So the next game was a cup game against Brighton. We're away. We need to talk about this first half performance from Wolves. Okay, we're going to go through the lineup first because Gary O'Neill made 10 changes. So this was the lineup. Okay, so we had Pond in there. We had Lima and Bueno. Sarr was in goal. We had Doyle. Huang played a 10. We had Rodrigo Gomez, Sarabia, and Guedes. For me, that's still quite a strong team. Maybe albeit Pond, maybe. Because obviously he's a youngster sort of still coming up in the ranks. But for me, that's still a team there that can do decent in a cup. But I'm going to come to you, Ben. Talk through that first half performance, mate, because that was a really hard watch for me. What do you think?
So for me, I think the thing that separates that bad half from the other sort of bad halves we've had were in all the other halves, like we'll get into the Villa game, but I think that we were sort of consistently poor. Whereas in this game, it was more patchy, I would say. We had in the first half patches of sort of good combination plays, especially through Lima, through Doyle, etc. But then when we were bad, we were very bad. And it's just the idea that, like the Newcastle game, we just kept giving away, like John said, just giving space around the edge of the box, just sloppy mentality, giving people opportunities to take shots. And when you give top quality players like Adingra, like all the other Brighton players, that sort of space at the edge of the box against Sarr, who, I won't hide my thoughts on Sarr. I think he's an extremely poor keeper, just in all departments. I mean, he's all right at shot stopping on the odd occasion where he pulls, an incredible save out. But generally, he's quite a poor keeper. And when you give, consistent opportunities on goal to a out of form keeper who's generally quite poor in Sarr, who should be making both, I think 2 of the saves he should be making, especially for the first goal. He could easily have kept that out, I thought. I think Johnston would have kept it out. It's just sort of recipe for disaster.
No, I think you're right. So let's just talk about those goals, because you would think, I mean, I'd do this anyway. I would look at the games that we just played, right? And I'd say, right, where are we weak? We are weak, right, defensively. If a team is running at us, we aren't closing down quick enough, right? We are weak on that left side. So solidify it. Put an extra man there. You know what I mean? Back whoever's playing on that left, back him up as much as possible. Okay. We didn't do either of those things. And we were essentially 2-0 down before you knew it, by 2 goals that were literally miles out. Those don't happen when you've got a game plan. And the game plan in that first half, I can't even tell you what it was. There was no game plan. Like, defensively, absolutely shambolic. Like, 2 absolutely stupid goals that we should not be conceding. Sarr needs to do better as well. Guaranteed. Sarr needed to do 100% a lot better. He just didn't look arsed, if I'm honest, for this game. It just looked like he threw his toys out the pram. Oh, I'm in a cup game. Blah, blah, blah. No, that's not the mentality you should have. You should be like, right, I need to get in that 11. Johnston's come in. That's my place. That's my shirt. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to put a performance against Brighton. Because I reckon that's why Gary played him. He wanted to see and compare the two. And then who played the Villa game? Johnston. Why? Probably because he saw how incompetent Sarr was in this game. He was awful. Absolutely shocking. At some point, the geezer was basically playing basketball. Like, literally, he was essentially playing basketball in defence. He was trying to fucking catch the ball and try and, like, I don't know what he was doing. He's just the most clueless player. And he literally gives me an anxiety attack every time he touches the ball. So in this game, we've already talked about 2 goals that have gone in. Let's talk about that Guedes goal, if you can remember it, Dan. Can you remember that Guedes goal?
I can, because I've just looked it up.
Let's go for it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, they got cracking goal, cracking finish.
Yeah.
Great move, great cross. I think one criticism I level at Wolves is they try and do too much. Don't have many players, just have a crack. Just have a crack at goal, he might go in. And he did. Yeah. He just whacked it and it went in. And it was really good.
And I think it was very well worked. And I'll tell you what was really impressive was about this goal. It was literally something that I haven't seen us do for like ages. It was an overlap run. Someone made an overlap run. Doc thought, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to overlap, create the space, put a ball into a dangerous area. And if someone's there, happy days. And Guedes was there. And it was a good finish.
It's beautiful.
And at 2-1, we're going in half time. And I'll be honest, I'm still not optimistic at all. But then the irony is we come out in that second, John, and actually look better again, which is I just don't understand this team at all. But yeah, in the second we come out and we look a little bit better. I don't know if you could sort of shed some light on that second half, John.
Yeah, I just thought for once it looked like maybe the team talk wasn't as bad as it normally is. They came out a little bit better. But to be honest, as I say, it's a different team, isn't it, really? It's all backup players, so obviously they all react differently. So our normal 11 probably would have come out and done what they normally do, lower confidence and start crying and let more and more goals in. But in this case, they came out and played better. Eventually they did let goals in, but they came out and played with a bit more freedom, maybe because they know that they're getting a chance now to impress the management, impress the coaches, potentially push for a starting place in the 11. I thought Lima looked really good. When you think about his age, and you think about other Premier League teams, and you think about similar players, he's going to be top. Like in another year, he's still going to be so young, but in another year's time, like think about how much he can develop. He's going to be one hell of a player. And I think he's just going to learn from Semedo. I think Semedo's a good person for him to work around and really start sharpening his teeth and get better and better. I thought Guedes was really good. I do understand why he does get subbed a little bit early because I think obviously with his knee, you've got to be very careful. He is a very injury-prone player, and anyone that's followed his career knows that you can't take too much risk with him. But I do feel like Guedes was really playing for the badge. You can see that. I know we're talking about the second half, but you did see in the first half as well. Any chance he got to take a shot, he would do it, and he would try and trouble the goalkeeper, who, let's face it, the Brighton goalkeeper was probably just as bad as Sarr. He was absolutely shocking. I think it was Steele, wasn't it? There's a number 2. He was very shaky, and as I say, he was the reason for Doyle's goal, which I thought was. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk. Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this one yet, but that was down to a keeper mistake. He was fluffing about, wasn't he, the Brighton keeper, and then one of our players managed to get it out to
Larson.
Larson, just outside the box. And that's the thing about Larson as well. He plays. It's not all about goal scoring, his assist. He's very smart. He knows exactly.
He
where
gets his
people
body
are.
about. He gets his body
strong,
about. Yeah, he gets his body about, makes it, mate, and he did it again for that Cunha goal, didn't he? In the pre-season, kind of reminiscent of that. Like he knew that he could get he knew that he could get into a decent area. He knew that there was going to be a following player.
Yeah,
and Doyle sticks it in the net. That was a good goal, but
beautiful. Lashed it in, man. Beautiful.
The trouble is, we created a lot of opportunities in this game.
Yeah.
So in this second half, we actually looked like a good team. We were really well organised, and we passed it about really nicely, and players were, you know, really, really doing. I thought that was probably the best performance I've ever seen from Tommy Doyle.
Yeah, I think that was the main reason why it looked so good, because he was pulling all the strings. He was like the magician.
I just think the contrast between him and Joe Gomez in this game was absolutely ridiculous. Like, it looked as though he was the one that was going to be the player that we're going to sell for a load of money. And Joe Gomez was the one that we've just had from City.
He's not having a good season, Joe Gomez. He's not really living up to what last season for me. He disappears. He's one of those players that disappears. Which is a shame because I like him a lot. But Doyle does play for the badge. He's always running. He's always after the ball. He's always calling, shouting. He's fantastic. Yeah, 4 million as well.
I just think in this game, I saw a different level from Tommy Doyle I hadn't seen for. I'm trying to think of games that I've seen him in that sort of. He literally just. He was captain in this game, and it kind of showed, like, he received the ball a lot more than he probably would if he had that star-studded midfielders next to him.
Yeah, I remember when he came on at Bournemouth when we turned the game around 2-1. He was instrumental. He might have got. Did he get the assist? I can't remember when Kalajdzic scored that winning goal. But I remember when he came on, he was playing a lot more in sort of an advanced role, and he was pulling the strings in that game. Yeah, I thought I was very impressed with that performance.
Yeah, I just think. That was definitely a shining light in this game. Now, obviously, we ended up losing this game. And the thing that really frustrated me is that we created so many opportunities just before they managed to score, and we just couldn't capitalize. I mean, they literally cleared it off the line. We couldn't get any closer to scoring another goal. And then they managed to score a goal, and it was just really. I think it really deflated the team, if I'm honest. Such a late goal to concede 85 minutes in, and it just deflated the team. And like John was saying, players' heads go down when this team starts losing football matches. As soon as they start losing, the players' heads go down, and that needs to change. Now, Lamina came out and said that this club has a what was the quote? Does anyone remember? A losing mentality. Now, to me, that can't happen in the Premier League. If you're a Premier League football team, you need to go into every single game thinking you're going to win a football match, and regardless of the opposition. If you've been training for weeks, in order to get fit, and you're not fit, then something needs to be done, man. Like something definitely needs to be done, and soon, because we can't keep losing football matches, and especially when we play so well. Like I think that's the frustrating thing. We see so much. Like we see so many good patterns of play. We see so many good opportunities. We see really good player performances. But then at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the fact that we've lost again, 3-2. So everything that these players did, it kind of goes out the window because we've lost the football match. And that's the disappointing thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyone want to add anything more to the cup game against Brighton?
I'd probably say, I think one thing that I disagree with what John said earlier about the Newcastle game, but that can also be like attributed to this game. I think we have a massive like attitude issue. I don't think it's necessarily a fitness issue, because if you look at sort of our pre-season, you saw sort of the drills they were going through. You saw in all the games, the pre-season games, the Leipzig game, like their press was just like top tier. And it's like you said, when we concede, when we start losing, we just sort of fall apart. Like all sort of our pressing structure disappears. We drop like 15, 20 yards deeper. Like heads go down. It's just negative. It's negative. Like I don't know why, after seeing the preseason we saw with all the sort of positivity around the camp, like all the smiling faces, all the hard work they're putting in, to get from there to where we are now, I don't get it. I don't, like, something's missing. Like, the picture's not clear. Like I don't
think it's as black and white as what people think it is. I know for a fact that, you know, that the camp still is happy and they're still optimistic towards the rest of the season. They still think there's games out there that we can win, and you know, but I just think it's because we've lost so many matches now, and I think that if we won one of those matches, say if we won against Newcastle the other day, this Brighton game would have been a different game, because we'd have gone into it thinking, right, we've won with this sort of formation, we've won with this style of play convincingly, like we did in that first half. I genuinely think this is a different game. It's because you get a certain momentum and negative momentum, and then that sort of spirals out of control. And we've seen that happen with Wolves loads of times. I mean, we said before we went on this podcast, it's happened before. We've seen it happen so many times, where we lose a bunch of matches, and then all of a sudden we find a little bit of a purple patch, and then we start picking points up. I'm just hoping that sooner rather than later. But yeah, anyway, we'll go over to the final match. This one, obviously, this game, by the way, I didn't watch because I was on my stag do. So I can't talk about the game as a whole, really. All I know is, you know, Wolves performed better in the first than they did in the second, and you can see that from the stats. You know, we'll talk about this game as much as we can, because that transition of first and second half needs investigating, to be honest, because it's borderline a crime, basically. Do you know what I mean? It's borderline illegal. What was gone on there? I'll come to you, Joe. I'll come to you, Ben, actually, because you watched this game with Kai, of course, and you talked about that first half, and you know there were some positive things there. What do you think Wolves did better in that first half than we did against Newcastle in that second? Like what things would more benefit? Because obviously we were still playing a similar sort of lineup, weren't we? Let's double check.
Yeah,
we were still playing that midfield. That's trying to get into that midfield three. But Lamina playing more of a 10 role. And to be honest, a lot of that actually worked, didn't it, in that first half? So yeah, tell me what you thought.
I think the only one negative was the fact we went in at halftime only 1-0 up. Like the rest of the sort of game plan like went to perfection. Like when the ball was like deep in their half, we pressed really high up, really aggressively. When the ball was in our half, we sort of formed this back three with Semedo, like Aït-Nouri pushing up. There was like a very clear tactical like identity. in every phase of play. The players knew what they were doing. They did it effectively. Just like everything was perfect, apart from those. I'd probably say the last 5 minutes of the half, when John McGinn went off injured. We just sort of saw it as an opportunity to sort of play it around the back, keep in control. I thought like everyone did their job superbly. Like when the ball went over the top, they tried to play quite a few long balls. Yerson would sweep it up and just get rid. They just didn't get a look in the first half. So the fact we didn't capitalise on that, like I said to Carl at half time, that's my one negative. The fact we only scored 1 goal, and then to go from that to the second half, just like I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was sort of lost for words at points, because to go from the first half that we had, that was just immense in sort of every single department, to the second half was just baffling.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that second in a minute. I suppose we'll carry on with that first for now. Cunha manages to get a goal. Dan, what did you think of that move? The good press from Lamina, and good finish from Cunha.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, Cunha, you couldn't expect it from him. He's an absolutely class player. Whenever he gets the ball, raises it, lifts everyone up. Lamina, for me, I think he wasn't fantastic at this game, which is unusual. He's one of my favourite players. I think he's really good. But he just, I don't know, more so in the second half, he kind of disappeared. But yeah, Cunha, cracking, great player, really finding his feet now. I mean, when he first came on, I was a bit like, he didn't really do a lot, did he? He seemed to fall over quite a bit. And now he still falls over, but he seems to get more free kicks these days. But yeah, just brilliant. Great player to have. Fantastic.
Quite a smart finish, really, to be fair. Because I feel like he shot it so early that I think Martinez was caught off guard. And he's sort of caught him off guard. I think he thought he was going to take a few touches and get into the box a bit more.
And just off the bottom post was, off the really good.
Really smart finish. And the way he took on his man as well. Carlos kind of left him in the dirt, didn't he? Bless him.
Yeah.
Which was nice. Nice to see us actually beating players. In a bit of a duel. John, I'll come to you. In that first half performance, obviously, we've seen some cracking play again from some of our midfielders. Anyone who sort of shone in that first half, other than the goal scorer Cunha, for you?
I just thought Andre was just brilliant. I thought he had a really good game. I think he just does everything so calm. It's almost as like it's like he doesn't look that good because he makes it look so easy. If you look at him, he just looks like an average midfielder. But then you actually look at the stats, it's because he makes it look so easy. He just gets the ball, turns around, makes the pass. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing fantastic. It's nothing too exciting, but it's exactly what you need from the midfielder. He does it all right. And I just think he's going to be one hell of a player. I think he's going to be one of those players that next season you're going to see a lot of big clubs going after. I just think he's incredible. And my mate was an Aston Villa fan, and he was messaging me saying just finding it really difficult in the midfield because Andre's just mopping everything up here. And when you need him to drop back a bit and help out, he was fantastic. As well as that, I didn't think Semedo really did. He looked much better than he did against Newcastle. I just first half, everyone just looked fantastic. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't really pick too many faults. I say the only thing was just Nori. He had that magnificent chance, and he kind of fluffed it, and it just missed the post. I was just thinking
it was a harder chance than it first looked. To be fair, if you look at the replay, got a lot to do there. To be fair, to sort of get under his spell, and then all of a sudden create an opportunity for himself. I don't think he thought he'd get as much time on the ball as he did as well.
I think he just needed someone to shout him, and maybe he could have took a real quick first touch and then a quick second touch and got a bit more precision on it. But I just thought everyone just played really well that first half. I remember going to the break thinking, fantastic here. I think we're really going to get something out of the game. But then Gary O'Neill has his normal death talk at half time, and then do you know what I mean? So
let's talk about the elephant in the room. Okay, this is the first half stats, guys. So a lot of gold, as you can see. Equal sort of possession. Wolves really creating, 10 shots. That's ridiculous.
I don't think we had 10 shots last season, did we? Season before.
It just looked very positive. What we were doing was working really well. And then this is the shocker. I think this is the most Jekyll and Hyde performance that I've ever seen. Like, if you watch these, watch the gold side here now. Watch this. Ready? And it's gone.
Wow. We had that much possession.
So, no expected goals, no total shots. So that means no shots on target, no big chances created. Just an actual, it's just the worst thing that you can possibly look at as a statistician. If the statisticians at Molineux saw this, they must have just been scratching their heads thinking, what are we getting paid for? Because what in the fuck is this? Like,
did the team even come out?
That is unacceptable. I don't give a shit. If you're a happy clapper, that's absolutely fine. I see things for how they are. That is unacceptable in the Premier League, in any fucking league. Even if that was the fucking stats at the fucking foundation football game that we all played in, if that is our fucking stats, we need to look at ourselves and go, what in the actual fuck are we doing? Creating no opportunities in a Premier League football game is absolutely criminal. Fucking shocking. And I am actually speechless because I was on my stag, right? The goal for Cunha winning, and I saw on the Wolfpack chat that who'd scored it. Fantastic, right? Lovely. I'm then going into karaoke, loving life, singing whatever. Do I even want to check my phone? Absolutely, categorically, fucking not. It's like having a toxic ex. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't even want to check my fucking phone. So then I look at my phone like an idiot. It's 1-1. Watkins. I'm like, right, here we go. Here we fucking go. We know what's going to happen now. Why is anyone even shocked? And then I thought, I actually would put a bet on this. This game is ending 3-1. I didn't do it, but I fucking wish I did, because I could just see what was going to happen. Anyone who's a Wolves fan at the moment can fucking see what's going to happen. This team in the second half has absolutely no bottle whatsoever. Zero. Like, fuck me. Can someone help? Second half, someone please tell me what happened, Ben. Explain.
So I'll start with sort of the Villa positives before I get to the Wolves negatives. So, basically, Unai Emery is, for me, in the top 3, top 4 best managers in the Premier League, and probably easily top 10 in the world. He tactically he knows everything. He's extremely intelligent. He's very methodical. So with his 2 changes at halftime scared me, because of even though Luka Dean was one of their most dangerous players in the first half in terms of his deliveries, bringing Maatsen on in terms of being able to stretch the play, being able to be versatile, be more potent in the final third, and then bringing Bailey on, which was a bit of a forced sub because obviously McGinn was injured, but someone to be able to stretch the play, someone to pin Aït-Nouri back, that's top class managing from him. So it was extremely methodical from him. But it angered me so much to see those 2 subs come on, and obviously Gary O'Neill would have been thinking about it, oh, okay, how am I going to approach this now, given the fact he's made these 2 changes? But there was no evidence for that. We didn't make a change until the 65th minute. How can you see that your opposition manager is making 2 clearly extremely tactical based changes at half time and not make a change till the 65th minute? It's just tactical suicide. And then for them to bring on Ross Barkley, who did really well when he came on in terms of pulling the strings, controlling the game. They brought on the world's best super sub at the moment, John Duran. They made 4 subs before we made our first one. That's just like that proves how
Can we talk?
inept.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Because last season, right, you could make a fucking you could literally just go, right, okay, we can't make subs because we've literally got none. You know what I'm saying? We're playing a guy that's like skipping science. You know, he can't go. He doesn't want to go to his science lesson, so he's going on the Wolves bench. That was the catastrophic, you know, awful part of that season. But then you look at our bench now. We've got some cracking players on there, and we're not using any of them. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Like,
It's like Large. It's like when we had Large. With Large, it was get to 80 minutes, bring on Wang and Traore. That was the sub every game, wasn't it? That's what they'd do.
I'd fucking kill for Traore now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't care if he is like an emergency sub. You fuck me. We need an emergency sub. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
we've got him though, haven't we? We've got the subs. We've got the bench, like you say.
But no one's got legs in this team anymore. Like, other than maybe Forbes, and we haven't really. I was
going to say Forbes. Yeah, he was good at Newcastle for the bit that he came on. He seemed to be. He's rapid, certainly.
But yeah, let's dive more into this second half because it genuinely just absolutely puzzles me. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. When you look so convincingly good in the first, you can say what you want about Emery. That's a good point that Ben made. You know, he's a fantastic manager and he's probably figured out Wolves and that's nullified us. But at the same time, the Wolves players didn't look fit. What the fuck's going on? Are they doing like a game in the goddamn dressing room or something? Are they like, what the fuck's going on in the dressing room? Do you know what I mean? Are they on fucking treadmills in the back? I don't know what's going on. Like, how are you going in first half looking like a Premier League football team and then going out in the second and not even looking like Wolfpack FC? Do you know what I mean? Fuck me. I'd rather have Kyle on that pitch. That's shocking. I'd rather have Kyle in a boxing match, but that's a different story. Anyway, so come on, we got to talk about it. Like, let's look. What does this mean for Wolves at the moment? It's not looking good, lads.
Oh.
I'll be honest. Like,
we're only bottom alphabetically.
We are now bottom. Okay. We are now bottom of the table. Our next game is Liverpool. Okay. Everton's next game is Palace. Southampton's next game is Bournemouth. That's a good game, by the way. And Ipswich's next game is Villa. You could probably argue, you know, Ipswich probably don't win Villa. But I tell you what, Everton are going to give Palace a good game. And Southampton are going to give Bournemouth a good game because it's almost like a derby. So that is going to be, if we don't get anything against Liverpool, we're going to be bottom for a good fucking while. Like,
well, look at our mini league here. If you go to the bottom again, we've got like a mini league going on here. So up to like 9th, maybe not, maybe 12th. We're capable of beating all those teams. There's a good chunk of points to be had there, isn't there? You know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it at the moment, but you know, I think
it's like when I was saying to a guy at work today. I said to him, I was like, we haven't really played any teams that are near us in the league yet. The only team we've played is Forest, and they haven't fucking lost a game, have they?
No, we drew them.
They haven't even lost a game yet. So you get a draw against those. That's looking like a good result now.
Mm.
And then you look at the other teams we've played. They're all teams that are going to be challenging for the top half of the table. Like, you got Chelsea there, Villa there. Look at that. Villa, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, and Brighton, all literally
and Forest.
3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So, like, it is an awful start for Wolves. It is. Yeah. And I can understand where people are coming from when they're looking at the fixtures. I can understand. Go on, John. What were you trying to say? Sorry.
I was going to say it's interesting that if you look, we are one of 6 teams that haven't won one game. There's actually 6 teams, including us, that haven't
Yeah.
won one game, which makes you think a little bit. One win, I'm not saying we will, but if we can do a normal last season, a normal Wolves, and just somehow get 3 points from a game out of nowhere, maybe in the next 3, you get, you know what I mean? All of a sudden you're on 4, and you're you know what I mean? You're coming straight out of that. So it is definitely a terrible at the moment for Wolves, but there are some real bad teams. I watched Everton, and they are really bad. Do you know what I mean? We are bad at the moment, but Everton are really bad. And the trouble with Everton is it gets worse because the fan base gets so
Toxic.
angry and toxic that they're actually outside the stadium giving the players abuse. Whereas I can't imagine us Wolves fans doing that, like throwing stuff at the cars. And you've seen the videos on Twitter and stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. I've been to. I was literally at Liverpool, for my stag do, and like I didn't see a happy Everton fan. So saw plenty of I saw plenty of Liverpool fans. Loads of those.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think the Brentford game is going to be the big game, really, because I think a lot of fans are going to want something from that game.
Tell you what, let's talk about just that. So these are Wolves games coming up. So we've got Liverpool, Brentford, City, Brighton away. Out of those 3 games right there, if we get 3 points out of that Brentford game and take a hit against City and get maybe a point against Brighton, it's looking better, isn't it? But at the same time, they're all hard matches for me. Like Brentford, like you said, Ben, you know, Wissa might be out. He's their key player, sort of getting goals for them at the moment. But I'm still not confident about that game, if I'm honest. And then, like, City's just a fucking write-off, isn't it? Let's face it. I mean, yeah, we won it last season, but we also had Pedro Neto then, who literally was the reason we won that fucking football match.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost Rodri, which is a massive loss for them, but I still don't fancy our chances against them, but at least it's...
Haaland will score 4 goals in that match.
Yeah.
Haaland will score 4 in that match, 100%.
We just need Dawson to bring back a GOAT performance against him.
Literally, yeah. I literally, like the night before that game, he's just going to be sitting there, like, Haaland going, fuck, I got to fucking Dawson again. Panicking. Absolutely panicking. It's like the Cucurella thing, but it actually makes sense. So okay. Let's just talk about the game for me, like you were saying. Brentford. This is the game, isn't it? Like,
yeah. If we don't win this, then that's it.
If we got 3 points against Brentford, oh God, I keep fucking doing that. So annoying. If we got 3 points against Brentford, what does that look like? Let's see. So then we get 4 points, say that. And then we look at the teams around and they're all and then okay, if they all do fairly shit as well, we're at least out at the bottom then. Even if we lose against Liverpool, we could still get our way out of the bottom then. So there's that game is huge because that game is huge, to be honest, because then people can't be saying, well, yeah, it's because we're playing teams that, you know, we shouldn't be beating and we've got the hard start and all this shit. Brentford is one of those matches now. If we don't win that and we get beaten, like if we get beaten 3 or 4-0 in that game, oh, God. If we get beaten 3 or 4-0 in that game, I honestly think there'll be questions.
I think it all depends on. He's gotten to a point now where there may be a slight bit of pressure on him, even though everyone's saying there isn't. But there probably is pressure on him by himself anyway, saying, "Come on, like we've got to get a result now." Probably just from his coaching staff and stuff and everything around him. I think if he just changes that formation and does go back to a back 5, and then you think we can really get the most out of it, Nori and Semedo as wing backs, I think there is a massive opportunity for us to get something out of it. But I think if we continue this back 4, we might even be able to nick a point from from Liverpool if we went for a back five, because the
Mm.
team is so used to it for so many years. You know it. You're going to get the best out of it, Nori. You're going to get the best out of Semedo. We've still
but
got
who do you
Santi,
play? Who do you
Santi,
play?
Totti, and Dawson.
Totti's injured.
No, I've heard.
He should be back, shouldn't he?
I heard an hour ago on the podcast. It's more likely that he's going to be in the squad and available.
So Santi, Totti, and Dawson.
No.
Yeah,
The
and then
back
Totti
three.
Totti on that left is a hybrid. So when they do have to defend, he slots back in, and it's a back five. And then when they do attack, Nori's allowed to go up higher, and then Totti slots into that left back position, like we did all last season.
I think for me, we should play Doherty, because Luis Diaz, well, obviously both Salah and Diaz have been extremely dangerous this season. But for me, I'd play Doherty as that sort of hybrid centre-back, because then you could have sort of Doherty and Semedo sort of doubling up on Diaz
Let's
on that
not
side.
Let's not forget. Forest beat Liverpool. So it's not like they're unbeatable.
Yeah.
No.
But they had who's their centre back that got Player of the Month? Murillo. They've got. I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't got that kind of defender. We've got Dawson, who's class, but he's 34, and we've got Totti that's made
Oh
out of
shit,
glass.
he's 34, isn't he? The same age as me.
Yeah.
Fuck you know.
Oh shit! And we got Santi that at the moment I just don't think Gary really fancies him in the Prem. Maybe in a cup game, but
I don't think he's that bad, to be honest.
No, it's class against Burnley, and absolutely class.
yeah, I don't think he's too bad. But I just think something about him, Gary just doesn't seem to like, does he?
Mm. Well, I don't know, because we haven't seen
Pond play. Is there a world? Because I thought he wasn't too shabby against Brighton, and I can see him being on the bench against Liverpool.
I think it's more likely, as you said. I think he'll more likely play Doherty as that right centre back. I think because we've seen it before a little bit last season, didn't we? To be honest,
and he's been playing well. Doc's been playing well.
Yeah, I think as I say, when it comes to speed and stuff, he's not the quickest, and I think that's why fans get on his back. But I think in the right back, centre back position, doesn't have to be so much about speed. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't. You know what I mean? He can pass the ball out to Semedo and everything. I think it could be the perfect role for him at the moment, especially with what we need to do. And if he doesn't fancy Santi, then that's probably the best thing to do. Especially if Totti's going to be available, we can put Totti in, we can put Dawson in, and play Doherty as that right sided centre back.
Fucking hell. That is that's the thing, isn't it? A back five. Jesus Christ. We really do it again.
I think we might have to, because it'll get the most out of the fullbacks as well. Do you know what I mean? You won't, if you played a back five against Chelsea, you would know.
I know, but it happens every fucking season. We think we've solved the back four dilemma. Oh my god, we're doing a back four. Wow, what is this madness? It's been. I mean, teams have been having back fours, since I was fucking nappies. Do you know what I mean? And we like have some sort of orgasm over the idea of it, and it's so normal to everybody else, but to us, it's like, oh my god, a back four. God has spoken. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. Like, we just.
I think what they might have to do
work.
is change it up for certain games. Liverpool, City, back five.
Yeah,
against Brentford, against some of the teams, change it up to a back four, and that way you haven't so much given up. It's like, I'm sure Brentford do it now and again. Is it Brentford? Sometimes they do a back five, back four, they switch it up. So I think if he does that, then you haven't failed. And he did say at the start of the season, when people were asking about the back four, he was like, well, are we going to swap it and change it throughout the season? So,
yeah, I get it. I don't know, man. I just really, I don't see anything from the Liverpool game. If we lose that game, it is what it is. This Brentford game, for me, is like a fucking cup final now to me. Like, if we win that game, we can still start something. And we could probably still take the L against City and start to get towards that Palace, Southampton, Fulham 3 in November and start looking over our shoulder, hopefully, in December.
Yeah.
Because if we get to December and we've still got shit, like we're still bottom, he's gone, surely. Surely, after November, if he's still here, then what the fuck? Like, what manager's ever done that? I don't even know. Like,
I'm noticing in the chat, a lot of people, the majority of the questions in the chats are all about how O'Neill should go, basically. So what's everyone's thoughts on that? in here.
Should O'Neill go? Well, at this point now, I don't think
Yeah.
he should.
Yeah.
I don't think there is anyone else that would bed into the idea of what we're trying to do for a long time. I feel like if we did as well, we'd get someone probably a lot more defensive minded, a lot more negative, and I just don't think that suits the style of players that we've been bought into. Like, is Cunha going to stay or want to play football matches if we're just playing a fucking defensive, five constantly? I just don't know, man. I just want to see. I just want him to do well. Like, I feel like he's got it in him to do well. I feel like the players have got it in them to do well. It's just finding that bit of form, isn't it?
I agree. I don't think you can. Sorry, John. Sorry. I don't think you can't. You need to give him a chance. I don't think it's a fair crack of the whip at the moment to start saying him out, because the games we've had, we wouldn't have been expected to win them under any manager last season or the season before. So I think Brentford is really important. I think that'll be the tell. So no, for me, you shouldn't go. You shouldn't even be thinking about going yet.
No. Especially from what I've heard in camp as well. Like, no one's throwing the toys out the pram towards it anyway. So no real point.
I think you'll get at least a quarter of the season, like 10 games in. What we're on 5 games now, so probably the next 3, apart from Brentford, probably everyone would expect us to lose against Liverpool. Everyone would expect us to lose against City, but try and get something out of Brentford and then see how we get on after that when we've got a nice little run and go from there. Because if we can't get many points in that nice little run we've got, I think come December it'll be in a lot of trouble. But hopefully we've turned it around by then. Because as I say, other teams round us are gonna, if they're in the same position, they're gonna be losing confidence as well. Like, if Everton continue the way they're going, they're going to be in big trouble. Southampton.
The thing is, we always. It's going to be a fucking soundbite. This is for sure. We always do well against Everton. So if we won them, that could be like Dyche sacked.
Yeah.
Then we can get Dyche.
Oh my fucking god! Imagine the world.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
All right, everybody. You're all eating gravel.
Get them earrings out. The meaner. No dancing.
Dye your hair black. What are you doing?
Fantastic. Get him in. Dyche in.
God.
I'm joking, of course. I'm joking massively. Big Sam, maybe.
I still can't believe he's at Everton, to be honest. Sometimes I look at Everton and I'm like, as if Dyche is still there. Like, fuck me. At one point, they had, like, what's his name from Real Madrid?
Ancelotti.
They had Ancelotti at one point.
They've
got fucking Dyche. Like,
the thing is, they went from
Ancelotti
to Rafa Benitez, which was just completely crazy.
Did they have Marco Silva as well at one point?
Yeah, it was Marco Silva, then it was Ancelotti, I think. Then Rafa Benitez, which is just crazy to me.
Oh, no. People are talking about Lopetegui in the chat. I've got loads of West Ham fans. Mate, they fucking hate him. They hate him at the moment.
What I hated is, I watched that game from the other day, and there was a kid that had died, and they were giving him the clap, at 11 minutes.
Giving him the clap?
giving him a clap. Come on now. Come on now, man.
Sorry,
giving him a clap. That was cheap. Cheap heat. Giving him a clap at 11 minutes.
Sorry.
Are you finished? God. Are you finished with that horrendous image?
I don't condone it.
No, me either. And Lopetegui wasn't clapping. All the bench were clapping, all the fans, and he was stood there like this with his one eye.
It's like Large the other day. Someone scored a winning goal and he just went. There's more motivation in my ball sack than him.
That was when we scored the last goal against Villa. They zoomed in on him and he's just looking up in the air like
that.
Oh dear.
He was just thinking, "What's that for dinner tonight?"
So what am I going to order from the chippy?
Yeah.
Honest to God, man. I do agree with Neil though. Lopetegui is an elite manager, but I don't think he's a Premier League manager for me. I don't think he's got the. I think he's a very much a European manager, like you know what I mean. But I don't think the Premier League suits him at all. I don't think the way he plays suits West Ham either. To be honest, that was a really weird appointment for me. I just don't think. I don't think that suits the way he plays at all. I just love how they got rid of Moyes because he was playing boring football. He literally won them the fucking Europa League. and now they want Lopetegui, who literally was boring me that much. I nearly fell asleep at a football match. I genuinely nearly fell asleep at Molineux after paying 60 fucking quid. I nearly fell asleep watching his football. Jesus Christ. Boring as fuck. So I don't know what they're after there. That's a shocker. But yeah, in terms of Gary O'Neill, I think he's got. I think he's done very well. You know what I mean? Like you look at if you take in everyone wants to take in last season's results into consideration in a negative way. What about in a positive way? Do you know what I mean? That guy at one point was like beating teams for fun. We were scoring at Molineux for fun. We were winning big top six sides for fun. We beat the Baggies away, and then we were on a decent cup run. We were doing some really good things under Gary O'Neill, and okay, yeah, it went to shit and whatever, and we've had a tough little run of form at the moment. But you know what? It's not enough to sack him just yet, man, because I've still seen enough in glimpses to say that with some luck and whatever, we could still win football matches. So let's just fucking hope to God that in this Brentford game, because it ain't gonna happen against Liverpool, is it? Christ. Let's hope at this Brentford game, bit of luck goes our way, and we can hold on to a win, and we can see an actual 3 points going on the table. Because if we do that, I'm going to be a very happy man. Let's just say that. What's everyone else's thoughts? Ben, what's your thoughts about Gary O'Neill?
I honestly don't know, to be honest. It like changes like the wind, but I think the cynical in me is like 2 games. But then the optimist in me probably agrees with you and says like, I don't know, 6 games. I don't know. Like, to be honest, yeah, it changes like the wind. Like, just whenever my mood like goes down, I think, right, if the performance, like, we need to perform well against Liverpool, like, regardless, like, there's losing, and then there's losing like the way we have in the past few games, which is just like you said, it's ridiculous.
But it's like the Arsenal game. I thought we gave them a good, a good go,
exactly.
for a team that are battling Man City for the title. Thought we gave Arsenal a good go. And you could say sort of similar thing to Chelsea, other than Aït-Nouri not knowing what the left side of his fucking arse is like. I just think that we've had some really, really bad luck. Okay, we've had some stupid decisions. As in, like, defensively, marking's been absolutely atrocious. Closing down the man has been just absolutely atrocious. I don't think Sarr should ever put on a number 1 jersey ever in his life, ever again. I'd genuinely have Rui Patricia over him now, even if he is in a wheelchair and he's a geriatric. Like, I'd rather have him in the fucking net now, because Sarr just looks, I don't know, he just looks uninterested. It just looks like he's got a bee in his bonnet and he's done now. And if he is, fuck him. You know what I mean? Get rid of him, man. Sod him off to fucking Saudi and he can ride camels. Fuck him.
Dan, I've got to disagree, though, because he can be number 1 for me at any Saudi team as long as they give us £20 million.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. If any Saudis are watching, I think he's amazing. I think he's,
£100 million goalkeeper. I think 100%. We should keep him. 100%. Definitely.
Tell Ben Jacobs, send him like a false fucking stat sheet. Yeah, look at that. Amazing. Show him that.
Don't
Don't
tell your
show me
mates at
anything
Al
else.
Shabab.
Yeah. Oh, gross. All right, let's go through some comments. There's been a fucking load.
Just be careful of the comments. I've been reading a couple of them, so just you know.
Is that what you were
Some
laughing
shockers.
at?
That's what I was laughing at. Yeah, there was one
Okay.
that you definitely can't share. But,
Really, I can't
yeah.
read
I
out.
was wondering.
Abuse of the week.
Oh man.
Let's talk about this, actually. North brought up a good point. The chairman.
Why would he hold a scarf like that? That's silly. That's just with your own name on it. That's silly.
Yeah. Let's talk about this because you know what? This is a big point, isn't it? If O'Neill was backed in the window after selling Kilman and we got a decent centre back in and we got a decent left back, maybe a few more options, do we leak as many goals as we have? Do you know what I mean? Like, was he let down as much as it's coming across? Because for me, you only sell Kilman if you know there's someone coming in. And I feel like there was someone coming in and she and Fosun have said no. That's what I think's happened. Genuinely.
I think you're right, though. I think it was the guy from Burnley. I genuinely think they thought he was coming in and they put a load of work in behind the scenes. What was his name? What was his name again?
O'Shea.
Yeah, I genuinely
Darren
think
O'Shea,
they put everything in for him behind the scenes, everything. And then when they didn't get him, they thought, right.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, but I feel like they had to get a Neto replacement over a Kilman replacement, and I think it was the wrong move. I think looking at the way we've been playing and looking at the players we've got on the bench, if we didn't have Carlos Forbes, I think we'd still be all right, especially with Guedes playing so well. And I think that we really needed that centre back that we just didn't get.
Deborah the Zebra is a fantastic
That's
name, by
awful.
the way. Only one place in front of the baggies now. No, let's just. Yeah, exactly. Hang on, just 2 minutes here. All right. If there's any baggies watching, by the way,
Turn it off.
wash your hands. Wash your hands. Don't touch anything. You know what I mean?
Brush your teeth.
While you're here,
All three of them.
you know exactly. Wash all your hands and all of your 12 fingers. Listen, right? Stay in your fucking lane.
Yes.
You get fucking humbled to fuck on your big day out, right? You fucking lose to a team that I've not even played on FC as a fucking League 2 team yet. Okay?
It's Fleetwood.
Done. Fleetwood. Fucking out, right? You're out, right? You're top of the league in the championship. Bro, we've done that. We won the fucking thing. That's where we are now. Do you know what I mean? You didn't do it last season. So you're gonna fucking bottle it again. Okay? So I tell you what, right? For now, let's just play devil's advocate. We're one place. You're one place. No, we're one place in front of the baggies. No, we're not. We are a fucking league above the baggies. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's 5 games in. We're probably still not going to get relegated, and you fuckers aren't going up. So there we go.
Do you feel better now? I feel better now. That's good.
Could be worse.
Worse. Yeah, just watch them comments, man.
If we're going to talk about a new manager, we talked about O'Neill, of course, right? If we're going to talk about a new manager, what new managers out there, Ben? Because I know you had a list. What new managers are out there that you can tell our lads about?
So I think for
that
me,
that could, yeah,
the most important thing is like we recognise, like, to look at it objectively, not to sort of like lose our minds and just be like, O'Neill's the worst manager I've ever seen. He's terrible. He has no positives. He's, whatever. To look like at the positives and negatives and say, right, O'Neill is able to coach, like to make players better. Like he came in and has improved the level of so many of our players. Like if you look at what he did last season with Cunha, what he did with Kwang, obviously Kwang has his caveats. Like João Gomez, Doyle. He's brought all the best out of all these players. He is good at improving young players. He's good at even though we've had such a poor start in terms of results, we've still been able to play some good attacking football against top sides. So for me, if we were to replace him, I'd want someone who's an improvement, like someone who retains the same positives but doesn't necessarily have the same weaknesses. So for me, it would have to be someone who's good at developing young players, positive attitude, got top level experience, someone who plays a similar system, because obviously no pre-season. You want someone to come in and sort of just play the same sort of similar system, so the players can sort of just immediately take that on board. So for me, probably the two names which are extremely probably unlikely targets, but people we should at least attempt to go for if we were to replace Gary O'Neill. One is Edin Terzic, the former Dortmund coach. I'm pretty sure he's taking a break from football at the moment after leaving Dortmund, but he said he'd be extremely interested in coaching in the Premier League at some point. Really good top-class coach, hasn't got the most experience. His only proper first-team coach job, I think, is Dortmund. But in terms of improving players, in terms of playing coherent attacking football, he's definitely up there for me. And then I think the second option, which is even more unlikely, would be what's his name? Conceição, the former Porto coach. His whole thing is developing young players and playing solid defensive football, and it's not boring defensive like David Moyes, that sort of football. It's every single game they give 110%. They're really hard to play through. That's the sort of football Wolves fans need at this point. So he's probably less unlikely than Terzic is, but for me, he'd be a real coup tactically because he's extremely intelligent, nuanced coach. Would get the most out of these players.
Cool. Nice one, Ben. Love that. This is an interesting one. Back from Deborah the Zebra again. It says, what position does Lemina actually play? So this is the weird thing, isn't it? I feel like until Andre came into the team, Lemina had a spot, right? And now, because he's captain, he's being shoehorned in these weird fucking positions, these hybrid positions that, to be honest, I think that's what's fucking him up. It's knackering him over. In the last game against Villa, he looked done. You know what I mean? The guy looked literally so tired. And I think it's because he's playing these positions in which he's all over the pitch and he doesn't suit the way he plays. Lemina's a player, if you lock him in one position, he does a job. Do you know what I mean? And I think I reckon he'd be a really good impact sub, but I just can't see it happening because obviously getting the captain's armband. But I actually think he'd be a fantastic substitute. You bring him on, I don't know, just after half time or something, or when we're chasing a game or whatever. I think it's a good substitute to have on. Just don't think that's ever going to happen. What do you guys think?
To be honest, I think you're right. I think at the moment, with obviously the games he's been playing international for his international team and stuff, I just think he's knackered and maybe he just needs the odd game where maybe he can get a bit more rest and come on as a sub. I don't think it's a crime in saying that. I think you're completely right. From when I watch Villa, they're putting him in this hybrid winger role, and I just don't know. Because he's not young anymore, is he? He's not even that far off 31. For him to be playing a completely different role, running a lot more, it's going to take a toll. And I think, as I say, these games are coming around every week now. And yeah, I think he'd be a great impact sub. But I can't see it happening, as you say, because he's the captain. I think if he wasn't the captain, I think you could potentially see that. And I think there's a massive opportunity now where you can rotate and play players like Doyle, which is a shame because I'd love Lemina to come on as an impact sub and give Doyle some more time as well on the pitch, because I think from what we saw in the Brighton game, Doyle was outstanding, and I think it's a little bit unfair that he's not getting the minutes that he deserves.
I think a midfield pivot of Doyle and Andre would be naughty.
I think for me, I think going forward, if we play a five at the back, I think we've got to do a midfield two. And I think that we've got to find a way to fit Larson, Cunha, and Guedes up front. I think for me, there are three best players up front. So we could easily do that if we played someone like Andre and Doyle or Andre and Lamina, just a two in midfield, five at the back, and Guedes, Larson, and Cunha. Because we know Cunha can play on the left. We know Guedes can play on the right. He's done it before for Valencia. I think for us that would be our best formation, and that way we can get the most out of the fullbacks. We've got strength in defence because we've got three there, so that would be for me. I know he wants to shoehorn three midfielders in, but I'd rather do that and get an extra centre back in and not leak so many goals.
North, this made me laugh. Hope Dan knows his position on his wedding night, mate. Tell you what, if I have a couple of beers in me, you never know. Do you know what I mean? I might lose all hope. To be fair, but yeah, I appreciate that comment. Sorry, I had to bring that one up. Ben? What do you think about the Lamina situation?
No, I think I completely agree with John and probably you in terms of he's a fantastic player, and I think at Villa the role that he played suited him. But I think given his age, like it shouldn't take a genius to realise he can't play that way the whole game. Like dropping him deeper, like once Villa started regaining control, like it shouldn't take a genius to go, okay, Lamina, can you drop in between the other two midfielders, or can you come a bit deeper? Like it shouldn't take a genius to be able to see that. So that's what worries me. It's just these little obvious things that someone like me, who like I've done some very basic coaching, things. I'm not a top level professional, but even I can see that. And the fact that he's getting burnt out, like John said, playing, in these like roles that he like can play in, and against Villa played very well in, but it does not take a genius to see that he can't play in that position for a whole game and give his all. I probably think that if anyone should be dropped, like in terms of midfielders, it should be João Gomez, because I think he's been extremely poor. Like apart from his piece of samba skill against Newcastle, like he's basically contributed nothing to the season. Like he's been nice in very small moments, but like if you're going off form, hard work, and who deserves, a chance in the team, like John said, it should be Tommy Doyle. So Andre for me is like first name on the team sheet, and then like whether you play a midfield three of Lamina, Doyle, and Andre, or just Andre and Lamina, that's for me. Doyle should get a lot more minutes than he is at the moment. So I'd probably agree with John in terms of, you play the Guedes, Cunha, and Larson up top. I think that profile could create a lot of problems for Liverpool. But Doyle should have come on a lot earlier in every game this season, just in terms of his ability to pick a pass, play it long, stretch games that way, but also replace tiring, legs like Lamina in the Villa game. Just for me, he needs to play a lot more.
Yeah. Neil seems to think that in a 4-4-2, Doyle would get overrun. So if he was in a midfield two with Andre, he thinks that he'd get overrun. I'll tell you what, in that Brighton game, that guy could have carried on. He was fucking ready. He literally just carried on. I don't know where he gets the legs from, Doyle. But
that goal nearly bent the crossbar, man.
He seems super fit, doesn't he? Do you not think? Yeah. I think
He's
Doyle
running,
seems really, really fit to play games, and he doesn't get as many guys. It doesn't really make sense, to be honest.
I don't think he's had a bad game, even in pre-season. Every time I've seen him, can't knock him. Whereas Gomez, there's so many games where he goes missing. Whereas every time I've seen Doyle this season and pre-season, he's looked class.
He built up his cardio, running from bullies, being a ginger. It's just natural,
Someone said, what's wrong with 4-2-3-1 with Lamina, Andre, Cunha in a middle triangle? That's actually how we played against Villa. But it doesn't say it on here, but that is essentially how we played against Villa. It's slightly different.
Well, we played Cunha off the left, and then Andre, Lamina, and Gomez with the triangle.
Yeah, there was a triangle of Gomez, Andre, and Lamina in the middle. As Lamina translate, basically Lamina and Cunha switch sides every now and then. So Cunha went through the middle,
Yeah.
Lamina went to the side.
Yeah.
I think the problem with that is the first number, the 4, that needs to change to a 5. Because you can't. I don't think the midfield's that bad, and I don't think the attack's that bad. I just think it's the defence.
Yeah, we're just leaking stupid fucking goals. That's the thing. We are literally a team at the moment that if you pepper the goal, they're gonna go in because it's not even that. That's another thing I've seen a lot of Wolves fans say is that it's Johnston's fault for some of the goals, and to me, like they've either been absolute worldies or they've just been really like powerful shots. Do you know what I'm saying? There's been a few where I think that Johnston probably could do a bit better, but you can't say Sarr saving those. So, and I feel like one thing about Johnston what I really like is that his distribution's 10,000 times better. Like he can actually kick a foot. He can kick a
100%.
football for fuck's sake.
I think at the Brighton match, what match was it? There was one match I've watched, and he threw the ball halfway up the pitch. He threw it to the halfway line.
Newcastle.
And I was like, that's pretty good. And he can hit Larson, with a long ball. I've never seen Sarr do that, and he'll distribute quick if he can. So I never did that ever. I've never seen him do it.
I've said this 1,000 times. The one thing about Johnston that I like, right? If our defenders in front of him aren't in a decent position to receive the ball, he kicks it long, and we recycle. Sarr never fucking does that. He will do anything in his power to just pass it to someone because the fucker cannot kick a football.
No.
He cannot kick a football. Just don't understand it. I mean, you got to remember that when Cody was in this team, Cody was taking the fucking goal kicks.
Yeah.
At one point, this guy can't kick a football, and that's what's wrong with him. As soon as he gets to his feet, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm not going to be able to clear this, so I'm going to have to pass it to someone." And then he'll look at someone and go, "Right, you've got a gold shirt on. I'll pass to you." Fucking shocking. 3-4-3.
I think there's nothing wrong with it. That's what we say. I think 3-4-3. Neil's got it right here. I think that's what we need to do against Liverpool.
3-4-3. Cool.
What do you think about us playing, like John, the system that you proposed, but instead of Guedes, we play 8 Nuri further up the pitch?
Yeah, 100%. I think the only thing with it, Nuri, is he is good and he's really attacking, but I just feel like if we're going to leak goals, even if we go back to a back 3 or whatever you want to call it, a back 5, I still think we will leak goals, but not as many. And I feel like we almost have to outscore the opposition. And that's the only thing with it, Nori, is I think you might be wasting that spot up front with someone that can't score. And there's nothing against him, but we know he can't score. He's not that kind of player. He's really good. He can get past people. He can dribble. But when you're playing that formation, you've only got 3 spaces, and then 3 spaces have to be. Yeah.
Guedes, Larson, and Cunha, 100%.
There's a world where I wouldn't be opposed to seeing like a 4-2-3-1, like Doherty playing left back and Aitnuri playing sort of left mid, and then you have Cunha, Larson, and maybe Guedes, or maybe a Forbes out on the right hand side.
Yeah, maybe. To be honest, yeah, I think that could work, but I just don't know if I'd do that against Liverpool. I think it depends on the team. I think Liverpool, the way I've seen them play this so far this season, they've been unbelievable, and I think you've got to play 3 centre backs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree, to be honest. I don't know. I'd be interested to see 45 minutes against Liverpool with a back 5. And I'd like to see that, right? If we are still leaking goals, I'd just find it pointless, in my opinion. Because then you're not only leaking goals, but you're not fucking scoring goals.
Yeah.
So we're actually harming ourselves even more, and we're not getting the best out of having a 10. Because when we do look good, when we are going forward, it is always because we're going centrally. We've scored 9 times out of 10 from either cutting back into the middle or using the middle to go wide. Do you know what I mean? It's always coming from the middle every single time, whether it goes that way or goes forward. It's always originating in the middle. Whereas last season, it was literally always down the one side or always down the other side. There was never any like middle threat because it was just a fucking hole. And I feel like if we went to a back 5, we were already sort of becoming a winger team again. Which you know what, if it works, it works. But I just don't know. I
think the problem is now is just we need points. I know it sounds crazy 5 games in, but I just feel like you start to lose more games and the players start losing confidence. That's the worry. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like if we can just do a back 5 and then, do you know what I mean? Maybe play a back 5 and then maybe go back to a back 4 when we start getting some of the easier games in a few weeks' time. Not sure. It's not like we've given up.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's like he said at the start of the season, he said when someone questioned him, he was like, yeah, we're playing a back 4, but one game we might play a back 5. And as long as he mixes it up, come January, we bring someone in, because there is money there. We know from how much we've sold. Well, I think from how much players we've sold and how many players we've bought, you know what I mean? I think there's movement there to bring in, especially when you think on top of that, last minute we got a little, not much, but we got a little bit of money from Podence. He's on £3 million a year wages. You can add that on top of the fee that we got for him. There's a little bit of room there to buy a centre back, and I think when we do that, then we can look at playing more regularly a back 4 after January. But I don't think playing a back 5 is giving up. I just think you've got to do what you need to do against certain opposition.
Yeah, I think a back 5 is a good idea, but the only thing I think is we don't have as much pace as we did when we had a back 5. So in the past, we've had some very pacey players, Traore, Neto, these kind of players get you up the pitch. We don't have that many players that do that now. We've got ball carrying players, but not like players that will beat a defender. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
There's like only maybe Forbes, and I've not seen him do it yet. Bellegarde on his day can do it though. Actually, it's just I like seeing him more in the middle recently. I feel like it's fucking annoying, isn't it? We've got all these players that work really well in the middle. It's fucking ridiculous.
The only thing is, will we see much more of Carlos Forbes? Because I'm sure after so many appearances, it becomes an obligation to buy. So it'd be interesting to see how. I think it's potentially starts. So there'll be a number. So you know what I mean? It's interesting, though, isn't it?
It is.
You never know. They may get to a point where they might think,
playing Football Manager, in it. You look at you look at these fuckers. You're like, right, oh shit, I've literally guaranteed him this much money if he gets this many. Nah, fuck it, he's not playing enough game. It's such a Jeff Shee thing to do. That is, I'm sure he's got that on his fucking alerts on his phone.
Yeah. I remember when
goes off on the day. Right.
I remember when Barcelona
loaned. Play him.
I remember when Barcelona loaned Griezmann back to Atletico Madrid, and the buy option was like 30-35 million, and they just refused to play him unless they lowered the fee.
Amazing. I love that. That's like such a bullshit tactic. I love it.
Yeah,
it's fucking great. Right, lads. I suppose we'll call it there. I suppose
predictions, man.
Oh yeah, what we got? So Liverpool's the next game.
Yeah.
By the time we do our next one, we're going to have 2 more matches to talk about. That's going to be Liverpool and Brentford. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Liverpool and Brentford. So out of those two matches, score predictions, who's scoring? So Liverpool first. Ben, what we saying?
I think it was last season when Bellegarde made his debut, when we were 1-0 up at half time at Liverpool and ended up losing 3-1. So I'm going to go for 3-1 again, which I hate to do. But I'm going to back a 3-1 Liverpool.
You think Villa's basically the Villa score, and Villa's going to happen again? Fuck,
No, I think, who's going to score? I think Larson will score. There we go. Larson will score first half.
That'll be nice. That'll be nice. John?
I think it will be Wolves 2, Liverpool 4, and I
Fucking, that's
think
a game, that mate.
I think one of the goals, second goal, will be Guedes, because I think Guedes does love a goal against Liverpool. Remember that one time when he legged it at Alisson and he made like a do you remember? He put it back.
He fell on the ball, didn't he? It's weird as fuck.
So yeah, and then
Amazing.
we're doing Brentford now, are we, or we're doing it after?
Liverpool first. So that's your. So
Yeah.
you're saying 4-2 to Liverpool.
And Jota's going to score for Liverpool.
Dan, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm never going to predict the Wolves to lose. I'm never going to do it. I don't think they'll win, but I'm not going to predict they're going to lose. So Wolves are going to win 2-1. Cunha, Larson to score.
Love it. I love the optimism, mate. It's what we all need, to be fair. We all need to be this optimistic.
Man. We need it.
Maybe you should go in the dressing rooms half time. Christ.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe I should.
Fucking
Maybe I should
get Gary out like Chummy. Fucking kick him out. Right, everyone. Woo, woo! We're gonna win.
Get off them treadmills. Stop running.
Yeah, that's the first thing to stop doing.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Liverpool 5, Wolves 1.
6. Oh. No.
I think we're gonna score first. Always. And I think they're gonna score again. Like, I think it's gonna be 2-1 to Liverpool at half time, and then they're gonna win 5-1. That's what I think.
Well,
And Jota's gonna probably score an hat-trick because he'll probably celebrate as much as fucking Neto, and they'll probably meet in a fucking pub next fucking day with, you know, their respective teams on their shirts, thinking they don't even know what Wolves is. The way this season's going at the moment, fucking Raul scoring, Traore looks like he's the best player in the fucking world. Jota literally getting into the Portugal 11 as a number 9. Fuck me. What more can go wrong? Mateus Nunes scored the other day, the fucking rat. Jesus Christ.
Oh dear. Sorry.
What a fuck? And fucking Baggy's the top of the fucking shit league. Brentford, Ben.
I'm going to go 1-0 Wolves, Brentford. I think we'll score, like, it'll be a really cagey game, and like Dawson will come out and score a header in the 80th minute or something.
Oh, I'll tell you what, he's never getting off the pitch if that's the case. That'd be cracking. He'll probably get injured doing it though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We can't win and not have a bit of shit. Do you know what I mean?
He'll do like, it'll be like across to the back post. He'll outstretch his leg, tap it in, and then like pull his calf or something.
Cool.
Well, then he'll probably play 10 more games after that, probably.
Go on, John. Brentford.
I think Wolves will score 2, and Brentford will score 1. And that's just because I think we'll go the whole season without a clean sheet. I think we're that bad in defence.
Whole season. That's a fucking horrible stat.
I don't think we'll get 1 clean sheet. We're obviously in the cup we have, but I mean in the Prem we don't get 1 clean sheet. And then I think Larson's going to score.
Nice.
I think it's got Larson written all over that game.
I think Quang will score.
He always scores against Brentford, to be fair.
No, he always scores and then doesn't stop scoring. So at some point he'll fucking score, and
True,
everyone else will eat humble pie. He does it every single season. It happens.
There'll be a reason for this, like for how he's playing. I think he's just carrying a knock like he normally is, and you don't know about it till like 2-3 months later. You'll find out that Gary will be like, oh yeah, he was carrying a bit of a knock, but we didn't really know or something, or we've just found out.
Go on, Dan C, what we saying? Mr. Optimistic.
Yeah, 2-0 Wolves. If Guedes has his shirt tucked in, he will score.
That's cracking, isn't it? That.
He looks ever so smart, doesn't he, with his shirt tucked in?
It does.
And
I'll tell you what, right? If I've got no name on the back of this at the moment, whoever scores the winning goal, because we're saying Brentford's a cup final, whoever scores that winning goal is going on the back of my shirt.
Even if it's an own goal?
Especially if it's an own goal.
Yeah.
Colin's own goal.
We say, yeah, the fucking dream that never was.
Yeah.
player in the world according to Messi and Ronaldo who plays for Brentford.
Oh, really?
Because every time they say who's the best player in the world, they say
Oh, yeah,
me.
me.
And then
yeah,
they keep.
yeah.
I seen it on the reel, and they
Ben
keep
me.
putting
Yeah, no,
a
I've seen
picture
it.
up
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Pen me.
It's one where Ferdinand's like, who's the best? No, they're like, who's the best player in the world? Ferdinand's like Maradona, and then they pan
Fucking
to
hell.
Ronaldo and he goes me, and then it just shows like an edit of all his like slide tackles and stuff.
Amazing.
Oh, that's so good.
That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. All right. So Brentford, cup final. I'm gonna say Wolves 2, Brentford 0.
Yes,
Wow.
son.
Clean sheet
Lovely.
as well.
And I think Andre's debut goal. Andre's debut goal, Strand Larsen, pen.
Imagine if you're right. Imagine.
Imagine.
Put a bet on
That
it
would
because
be-
you didn't bet on the
that
other
would-
one.
That would mean Strand Larsen on the back of my shirt, wouldn't it?
Have we even had a pen yet? Even in the cups? We've not had a pen yet, have we?
Not a sausage.
No.
Crazy.
We haven't
that
even, to be honest though, we have not really had an opportunity to fucking even gain
No.
a penalty, have we? Do you know what I mean? Like, we haven't even got in the box long enough for someone to tackle us. So it's not really happening, is it?
No.
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I've completely forgot what I said already. I'll look back at
2-0,
the
you said.
stream after.
You said 2-0, and the
Um,
person that wins it, you're going to have on the back of your shirt.
Yeah. I hope it's no one's shit now.
No,
know.
you said it now.
Oh
You said
no,
it
it's
now.
going to be what's the
Pond.
name that used to play for us? That used to.
It'll be
no,
Pond.
Own
It'll be
goal,
fucking
the guy
Pond.
that used to play for us. What's his name? The centre back.
It'll be fucking Pond. I'd love that. That'd be sick, actually. I'd do it. Fuck it. Nice one. So, guys, we're gonna get off. Thank you so much for being here. 470 something people on a school night. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you so much, man. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. There's a load of content going up soon. I haven't been able to do too much just recently because I've got a load going on with work, wedding coming up as well. So I've been a bit useless, to be honest. But yeah, Collins will score. Neil's right. Probably score a fucking hat-trick. Yeah, so yeah, thank you everyone for watching. No fear. If you're on social media, Wolfpack WWFC, across all of that. We are approaching, I think, 1 million for all subscribers, followers, and all that added up together. So that's really, really impressive.
Million?
So hopefully we hit that soon. Yeah, 1 mil. 1 mil. 1 million. I need some sleep. It is. Right. So thank you very much, guys. You'll probably see us on the next preview, John?
Yeah,
Question
yeah,
mark?
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Liverpool?
We're doing a preview. Yep.
Yeah. And I've not decided whether I'm going to the Liverpool game yet. I don't know whether I want to spend
game.
£60 or throw £60 in the fire and watch it burn before my eyes and cry. Both are the same. So I'm deciding which one I'd rather do. One of them doesn't, spend a load of petrol and stick in a load of traffic. So I'm not sure. But inevitably, I'll probably go and watch it because I'm a fucking idiot and a masochist, and that's what I'll do. Nice one. So thanks very much for watching, guys. See you on the next one, and until then, in a bit. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.